200.
That's
okay.
This is Limor Schafman here for U2U Connect on RCR TV, and with me is Lisa Peterson of Neustar and Sundeep Sanghavi from DataRPM. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just had a great conference and convention and conversation here at TelecomHub, talking about ROI on big data, deep big data analytics, a lot of different discussions, everything from the security issues that we're seeing now today, and just from the protection level to the phenomenal possibilities of what big data can do. So from what were some of the key takeaways that you had from this panel today?
Well, I think we definitely talked about the disruption of new technologies, and those would be mobile and location-based services and social networking and the cloud and APIs. So with all of this and more consumers spending more of their time consuming content on tablets and smartphones, all of this data is going into the cloud. So now there's more access to it. So how can businesses now leverage that and make meaning out of that? And we talked about several of those use cases. And Sundeep was on the panel with me here, and we talked about how his technology enables easier access of that data.
Yeah, so how does virtualization affect all of this?
So I think virtualization actually increases data. So one of our customers went from 1 terabyte to 2 petabytes in a matter of 2 days. The key thing I took away from the audience is the use cases. They really want to understand how can we use the big data technology in particular business, whether it's mobile communication, healthcare, and then how is technology enabling that, right? So if you look at Neustar as an example, and you look at DataRPM as an example, so Neustar has massive amount of data. Our goal at DataRPM is to how do we enable data analytics on top of the data that Neustar has.
And so what DataRPM is actually doing, when you're talking about the virtualization, describe a little bit more what you're actually doing.
Sure. So we'll take data from any sources and load it up into a search index and let you ask a question. So the traditional world was, you'll build a data warehouse where data goes to die. For us is take the data, plug it into the search index. All you got to do is point to it and ask a question using a natural language. What was my revenue in 2011 by location, by gender, by demographics? When you ask that question using a natural language, that's how your brain is trained. You ask that question to the search bar we have built, and it gives you data visualization on the fly.
And why is the virtualization part so important?
Because I think we spend most of our time aggregating data, designing the data warehouse, how the drill path is going to be. Well, if I ask you that today, you're going to give me what's in your head today. 2 weeks later, you're going to change your requirements, and you're going to be designing that all over again. So virtualization allows you to be on the fly. So the more data is bringing in, your business questions are going to change. So Google didn't ask, are you going to ask for DataRPM, or are you going to look up Neustar? They said, potentially, if we're going to look it up, we're going to have that available because storage is becoming cheaper. We're doing the same thing from a data virtualization perspective. We're storing every bit of corporate data onto the search index, and then letting you ask whenever your time comes, what your business question is, using a natural language to get to those answers.
So I think you brought up something that's actually also really important, and that is, how do you know what to ask? What are some of the first questions, and how do companies know what to ask? So from your experiences, what would you say, how would you advise companies into starting to really get into the data they actually need to have access to, as opposed to looking at this mass and being completely overwhelmed?
Well, so that is often a very big challenge. We get asked a lot, and we're working with companies that want to understand more about their consumers, right? Mobile, because back to the time spent on mobile, is an area of huge interest. People want to understand who their consumer audience is. How are they reaching consumers? And then our big question is, okay, well, we can provide those answers to you, but then how do you want to use it? And then there goes in the dilemma, because there are many different use cases. So from a marketer's perspective, often what they're trying to do is just first understand who am I reaching, and then understand the why. Why am I reaching these types of people? Okay, now that I know this is my audience makeup, what kind of messages should I provide to them? And so we're working with companies to personalize the experience that they get across all different channels by providing those insights ahead of time. And amazingly enough, back to kind of marketing 101, it's just amazing how marketers aren't doing that. They aren't taking into consideration all of these user interactions they get yet because they haven't really figured out how to.
That's interesting. What do you mean they haven't figured out? What have they not figured out?
Well, the the rapid pace of the online digital world and the mobile world now coming in and causing some transition and disruption has given rise to all of this data again. So it's back to now, how do I take and marry this online interactive data that I'm getting with the historical views and the offline purchase type data that I have that traditionally has sat in the CRM side of the business. And I think part of this goes back to even how businesses are organized. So you have the CRM organizations that have been planning direct marketing campaigns, and it's been more of a scheduled passive model. And then you have the digital online world, which is all about interactive advertising. So now how do you marry and connect the dots between the two? I think that's the biggest challenge, and part of it is the way organizations are in silos.
To me, the big data world, let's say you do process 2 petabytes of data and you give it to the customer, what are they going to do with it, right? So for us, first is the visualization component is that just look at the data, right? And you do the data discovery. Once you do the data discovery as a business user, you usually know the questions you want to ask. And then ability to ask 2 petabytes of data a question and get an answer without having to use data scientists, the IT specialists, software engineers. And that's where the future is heading, right? So I think what Lisa's saying is, you got a CRM silo, you got a marketing silo, you got an ERP silo. If you just saw the power of taking the data from the CRM tools, marketing tools to the ERP tools, you could really figure out how your customers are interacting, whether it's the churn, whether it's the retention, whether it's what device they're using. We got one customer using our product to understand Sundeep uses Facebook at 2 in the morning. Lisa uses it at 2 in the afternoon. There are different demographics. One potentially has kids, doesn't have kids. So there's all these analytics that mobile is bringing, especially from the Neustar world. The amount of data you guys have is fascinating to companies like us, because there's so much intelligence you could provide to the end customer, which is the carrier in their case.
And so when you have all these different factors of different kinds of people using different things, or the same individual, as you just said, in the morning I'm starting out, I'm taking my kids to school, and I have to get my downloads of information that I need to be ready for my work, and then when I'm later in the day I have a different need, and then I have different interfaces also that I'm interacting with, and so on and so on. So who do you think is doing this well? Who is actually in the industry of using data analytics well? Who's doing that? Does anyone come to mind?
Well, and again, I think it means for what, but we did talk a lot about we are at TelecomHub, and we talked a lot about the mobile operators today and the cable companies too. And traditionally, they have all used data very well to optimize their networks. So now it's taking that and reduce their costs and improve customer experience and using it for their own marketing purposes. But now, as they are getting even more data from this app economy that we're in, how can they leverage that? They know what people are downloading. They understand what websites are going to. So now can they take that and change some of the market model by leveraging that data themselves and inserting themselves into the marketing, advertising, and commerce?
So they're actually changing their business model themselves and their product and services as a result of this big data.
As a result of everything going on in the industry. Smartphones are here. They're becoming good platforms for marketers to advertise on, right? So it's a lot of alignment that's happening. And we also talked a little bit about Nielsen today and what this does to the traditional research panel model in terms of now that everyone is getting the actual real-time information of what's happening out there.
So a lot of disruptive change.
Yeah, so I think it's also opening up an opportunity for comms, especially in the mobile world. The operators are now partnering with retail sector, right, to do the analytics, because they have the call data, the event data, the app data. The retailers have the buying pattern data, and they're mashing those two together. So that's something that we're starting to see something new, where 2 different verticals are working together, mashing data together to really serve to their customers, which is kind of nice.
Well, I think it's about time. As you said, there has to be a lack of siloization within corporations and then across the industries in order to really take advantage.
Exactly, yep.
So as a final thought, when you're looking towards the future of what companies should be paying attention to and what they should be thinking about if they really want to take advantage of big data analytics, what would you suggest to the people?
Get a place to store it. And then find a good partner that you can work with that will help you make sense out of that.
Okay.
So besides Neustar and DataRPM, of course, you look at what IBM is doing in the big data space, not only for the business consumption, but for the public interest. So if you look at the smarter planet, smarter citizen concept, I think that's going to bring fascinating new technologies to the market. Then you look at the other side of the spectrum when you look at the mobile operators like AT&T, like Verizon. They're now, they actually have a data scientist group within their organization, which existed before, but that was only within the network traffic. Now they're taking the network traffic, the operating traffic, the mobile traffic, the content traffic, merging it all together to provide analytics. So I think being at TelecomHub, the mobile world will be very interesting over the next decade.
It's going to be very exciting. Thank you so much, Sundeep. Lisa, great to have you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Limor.
And thank you for watching us here at U2U Connect on RCR TV. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That was really, really great.
Glad, yay.
For the opportunity.
That was, boy, I think that would.
Thank you, yes, yeah, let's get together
Great
maybe
to use
next
the
week.
more.
or-
I'll get on your schedule.
Okay,
I'll put it up.
okay, I'll put a little team together so you can see it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Dan, and great job.
Thank you. It'll be fun to watch. When will
Well,
it
I
come
didn't
out?
just there, I meant there.
Oh, okay. When will
I
it
think
come
I'll
out?
put it up soon. I'll talk
What do you
to
want me
Jeff
to take?
Mucci, but I think I'll put it up really soon.
Okay, great. All righty, nice to see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you. Nice meeting you.
You what, honey?
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I know, I'm gonna come pick you up in 10 minutes, okay?
See you guys.
I'll
Bye.
be there in 10 minutes.
So yeah, I'll put it up and then I'll send the link to you guys.
Wait at school.
Great.
Okay,
I think
bye-bye.
it worked well with both of them.
Yeah, I think that was a good idea.
Because
You work good for us.
Thank you.
I don't really rush, but I will see you guys.
See you.
Sure.
Congratulations with your
Thank-
daughter graduating. She was great.
She got to,
She was so eloquent.
you guys indulged her and us for a little while.
take these things then, huh?
Yeah, take those, you've got two, take this, please.
Okay.
And you said you're going to, can you carry this too? I'm just gonna go to tonight to, the baccalaureate thing.
Have fun? No, thanks. Trying to not do that.
Since I have that advisory board role with Sundeep, I like to try to give him
Right, sure,
a
no.
little bit of PR and exposure.